So I've been a big fan of your work for a while now. I was pretty sad I didn't get a chance to talk to you for the machine. So I'm glad we're getting to do this now. Um,
Oh, thank you.
yeah. First question: if you could live your life through the lens of any movie genre that you wanted, what would you choose?
Oh my gosh. Good, challenging question. Uh, I feel like this is a bit of a cheat. It's not really a hard genre. Maybe it is, but I always feel like the lifestyle in the Fast and the Furious movies, that's the way to live. You're just pulling heists, hanging with your friends, doing cookouts, driving fast cars. That would be fine lifestyle for me. I'd be comfortable with that.
I think you and I are pretty much one and the same because that when I was thinking about it, I was like action comedy. That's what I want. Like where it's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a lot
right.
of action, a lot of cool stuff going on, but I'm probably not going to die. That's where
Yeah,
I like it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I might end up in space with Tyrese, but I know I'm going to be okay in the end. So yeah, it
And who
works.
doesn't want to go to space with Tyrese? Oh,
Everybody want that in their life. Yeah.
you should. You should want that should be a prerequisite. Now, no spoilers. When you were reading the script, did you correctly guess who the killer was?
Ooh, I did not. I mean, I think the genius of what Chris and Anthony and the writers on the show do is every week they make you think it's somebody else, and then you just don't know. So I asked if I could read all of the scripts for the whole season because there's so many callbacks and little. I mean, it's so intricately designed. And then I read the last episode last, and it shocked me. So no, I was very wrong.
We were just talking about this. I literally have no idea who it could be. Because you're right. Every episode, it feels like there's another little, like a wink that it might be this person. And then you're like, oh, well, never mind. Exactly what I thought last week. Not going to happen now.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, you've got a lot of history with directing comedies, right? But for this episode, Ulysses, what was the most fun thing about directing this sweeping epic romance?
It was really fun because I rarely get to kind of play in this space, and my favorite thing in the world is when you take something super seriously, and the fact that everyone involved is taking it so seriously makes it funny. So I think that doing the epic romance, I got to, you know, do a lot of references to like Wong Kar-wai and Anthony Minghella and these big, sweeping romances, and everyone on the cast was so down to just completely take it 100% seriously, and then we're just giggling all the time whenever I call cut. So that kind of like juxtaposition is super fun to play in.
Yeah, I love the way that John Cho is like sort of handled this episode and the character in general. I mean, because he's so self-serious, but with this little wink wink, that like
Yeah.
I love the way he's handled the character. Now that you've spent so much time with John Cho, who, like I said, he's just amazing. What are the chances that you're the guy who's going to bring Harold and Kumar back together? Or is that like just wishful thinking on my part?
No, I honestly would love to. After this episode, like John Cho could be like, "Hey, I want you to direct me in a commercial for a pharmaceutical," and I'd be like, "I'm there, man. Let me know." He's an amazing performer. He's so committed. The amount of dance training alone he went to for this character and this episode, I was just continually impressed by him. So yeah, I would love to revive that or any other Cho centric franchise.
Speaking of sequels, I do have to tell you this. I loved Keanu, and I asked Jordan Peele about doing a Keanu too, and he just laughed at me. So, have there ever been any discussions about getting the band back together for a Keanu?
There has not been any discussions. I mean, those guys are amazing, and we all still talk, and I would love to do anything with them. But I think we've all kind of found our own separate paths. And this may shock you, Keanu, not the most financially successful film of the mid
What?
2010s. I know, crazy, right? Crazy. So yeah, not a ton of clamor for another one, but happy to take
Well,
that.
I'm clamoring for another one, but
Well, there you go. Start the letter writing campaign now.
you know what? I'm going to do my best.
Crazier things have happened. I'll say that.
What makes me more sad than, and I'm just going to run through your whole filmography. I apologize in advance, but I really am a big fan of your work. As someone who directed episodes of The Last Man on Earth, are you as sad as I am that we didn't get a proper ending for that
Yeah.
series?
Yeah, that's a show that, like, if ever there was like a 1 hour special or 2 hour movie to wrap up the narrative, that show so deserves it. And it was just amazing to see what Will did with it. So yeah, I was as disappointed as everyone else when it ended early.
Now, have you seen Strays yet? Because I think Will Forte is the funniest man alive.
I'm with you in that love for Will. I have not seen Strays yet, but I will be there on Friday to get my ticket because I'm dying to see it.
It's really fun. I just talked to the director yesterday, and it's so funny, dude.
Yeah, I mean, Josh is great. He's a great director. Everybody in the cast is amazing. It's yeah.
And I really think there's nothing that Will won't do for a laugh. I mean, he really is like one of the funniest people on the planet.
That is accurate. Yeah.
Now, I also got to say, I watched Jean-Claude Van Johnson several times. It's just incredible. And that man is the reason that to this day, I'm still obsessed with mastering the splits. And I can't do it. Like I have like a little, like a torture rack, like device in my gym downstairs that opens my legs up for me to like cry. It's the worst. But I need to know if you've got to have some funny stories that you can share about working with Mr. Van Damme.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, he's a character. He's just kind of everything you would want him to be. Like he really is that strange and that amazing. And he's in just incredible shape. But also he's just out there. And, you know, there was one day in particular, I'll never forget, because I think doing that show for him, it was such a surreal experience because you're taking, you know, Dave was taking things from his real life and his real past and then mixing it with this narrative. And it was kind of like half wish fulfillment, half like brutal self-reflection. And one day he came up to me on set and he was dead serious. And he just grabbed me by the shoulders and he was like, "Peter, be honest with me. There is no show. This is an intervention. Yes?" And I was like, "Oh, I hate to break it to you, Jean-Claude, but there is definitely a show that we're making. This is not just a therapy session for you." But I mean, he had like emotional breakthroughs on that show. It was a wild experience, but he was really fun to work with.
Dude, he's such a character. I love that man, but he seems like I don't know if he's one of those guys that's like meet your heroes or not. I'm not sure. Like I would really love to interview him, but have you spending so much time with him? I thought you would have a better take on that than I would.
Yeah, he's totally worth meeting. I mean, he is completely insane and weird, but also like he's the real deal and he lives a life. He gets in his Bentley convertible with like 3 dogs in the back and goes to Gold's Gym every day and works out. And he is super committed and he knows, I mean, people everywhere you go with him, people come up to him and they're like, "You're my hero. Like you're the reason I did this, or you changed my life." And he's incredibly gracious. Nobody loves their fans more than him. He's really a sweet person. So I think for somebody to have all that adoration and kind of make it through and still be a genuinely decent person, that's pretty admirable.
That's awesome to hear. Now,
Yeah.
one thing that I really love too is that like between the machine and Jean-Claude Van Johnson, I mean, you've done a great job of creating these like fictionalized like biopics in a way. With Jean-Claude Van Johnson, you make Van Damme like he's funny. And in the machine, you sort of turned Bert Kreischer into like a bit of an action star. Which one was more challenging to pull off? Like making Van Damme funny or making Bert a badass?
It's tough because they're actually both good at those things. I have to say Jean-Claude is like a naturally funny guy. He doesn't always know that he's being funny and he's not always aware. So you definitely had to like push him to, you know, I was leading him to the comedy, but then he was always making it work. And I think Bert, I was surprised. Bert definitely didn't know what he was getting himself into, but I had a conversation with him very early on in the process. And I was like, "Hey, you're going to have to do some real action in this. So like, you got to work out and really take this seriously." And he, to his credit, that guy, he works his butt off and he showed up every day. He had a trainer. He got super, I mean, you know, he's a big guy and he's got a big belly, but he's actually really strong under there. And he took the action training super seriously. He was there every day for rehearsals. He was doing his own stunts. He tore his arm up doing his own stunts. So he's the machine. I mean, it's really who he is. And so for both those guys, it was pretty impressive and it kind of raises the bar for everybody around them, seeing them take it so seriously. It's great.
I've done stand-up shows with Bert and but it's weird because you wouldn't think that he's got like this great body, but I think he just does it with so much confidence that I'm actually like, wow, he looks he looks really good, even with the belly and everything like that.
100%. People give him, I mean, I couldn't believe how much trash people talk about, like, oh, he's so fat, it's gross, whatever. I wish I looked like that. Like, I would be taking my shirt off all the time too. He's, like I said, he's got a big belly, but he's got very defined musculature. He's in good shape. And the man is a tank. I mean, he just keeps going and going. You can throw anything at him and it doesn't slow him down. So
now, last question, just to circle it back to the after party. I want to know who on the cast that you've worked with do you think might be actually able to solve a murder in real life? Like, who do you think that would be?
Oh, 100% Zach Woods. I mean, Zach is like a savant. I don't know how his brain does what it does, but like, he will just come up with improvs. He's super sharp. He's super, like, he's so focused in a scene and yet able to like play off of someone else's energy, make stuff funny, throw things. I think he's like Sherlock Holmes for real.
That's awesome. Peter, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me. I really enjoyed the episode and I can't wait to see what you do next.
Thank you. Great talking with you.